doing an update on Adamis. Someone pointed out that they made an update today, so let's go to that. All right, here we go. Adamis provides an enrollment update on their phase 2/3 study with TEMPOL and COVID-19 positive high-risk subjects. Looks like they finally got, and they've enrolled all 248. So, by the way, today is September 12th. So you're looking at 14, I think 21 days is how long it takes. So we'll get into a little bit in October here, and they should have everybody through. That's big. Now, I remember someone pointing or mentioning that, was that going to set things back in terms of the readout? It should not, because they're not even doing 248. Let's see. I think it's like 190. Blah blah blah. Yeah, 190 subjects. So they're not having. You don't have to have everybody done, right? They just need 190, which I believe they probably have already. So, the board's DSMB, blah blah blah. Yeah, so they're going to unblind the data, so they're going to see the efficacy, see how things are going on, evaluate the clinical data. So that's a good reminder right there. The fact that in March and June they saw, things were looking good. Don't mess with the trial. Just keep it going. And now they're going to check the primary efficacy endpoint, meaning does this drug work, and does it is there resolution of COVID-19 symptoms? Let's see. This is big right here. So the interim data is going to show the efficacy, and if it's good enough statistically, they'll probably going to say, hey, just stop the trial. We don't have to keep going. This is it. You guys hit it. Let's get I guess they don't want to end it, but considering that they fulfilled it, but enrollment, but they're going to probably want all the data they want, but they'll at least have enough to bring to the FDA. If it doesn't hit the endpoint, they'll probably stop it for futility, but we'll see. But then, I feel like they should probably finish it up and then get as much data as they possibly can. They go over the secondary endpoints and see if there's a plan going forward. Because sometimes if you fail your primary, that doesn't mean it doesn't work necessarily. It just doesn't work for the primary endpoint they were going for. And then sometimes your secondary endpoints give you life. They give you a shot at something else because they're trying to sustain, alleviate the symptoms resolution. So whole idea is that you get COVID-19 and you're somebody who's 65 or older and you have comorbidities and or high blood pressure, diabetes, immunocompromised, undergoing cancer. What else is in there? Just the obesity. A lot of different people. All those different types of patients. Can they alleviate symptoms in 14 or 21? Yeah, 14 days. Better than placebo. That's big. If you can give somebody some pills to take home in 14 days, if they're at they're high risk. Not just anybody, but people that if you don't take this, you might be going to the hospital. If it improves it quicker than the placebo, we're good. But there's also other things that they're looking at, right? Let's see. There was probably usually tell you down here. Yeah, here about the trial. I know one of them was inflammation markers. Yeah, so changes in inflammatory markers, hospitalizations, and mortality. So deaths, improvement on deaths, hospitalizations, and this is probably where they're going to find. But hopefully the alleviation of symptoms would be, by day 14 would be great. But these inflammatory markers are probably going to be where they find potential for expanded use, or it might be where they might have to aim TEMPOL in another trial. because I would assume if they can alleviate the symptoms, they're going to improve the hospitalizations and mortality. But if they can't improve the symptoms, but maybe obviously reduce hospitalizations and the mortality, it's worth pursuing. I'm not sure if that would get them the EUA right away. I think at this point, the EUA, they're going to be looking at, this is a cheap, it's not one of the, Pfizer, Plaxivoid, whatever it is, and it's not a biologic that costs hundreds to thousands of dollars for the treatments. This is a derivative of peroxide. This, if done right and they get it right and they can get the manufacturing, this should cost, cents, not dollars, and much less hundreds of dollars. Anyway, I'm going off track here, but what else? Yeah, so if everything goes well, they'll move on to the FDA. If it does not go well in terms of missing the primary endpoint, they should take a look at what did go well, see if they can have something else to go on. Maybe this is more of if the inflammatory markers are really good, like it's bringing reduction down and it prevents long COVID. Maybe that's the next thing they can do in conjunction. Obviously maybe somebody that is at high risk for that, they can stay on TEMPOL for a prolonged period of time. Who knows? Maybe that's the next thing they got to do. Now the other thing is, here's the next one, which is they're hitting it, but it's not statistically significant. That means they're probably going to have to wait for everybody to get through, and possibly enrolling additional patients to further power the study. Meaning we're seeing good trends, but we just haven't hit it yet. Meaning we're going to have to expand, either continue and then after the 248, take a look, and then maybe expanding even more. That might actually be the issue. That could be a possibility. We'll see. It's hard because we're not dealing with COVID, Delta variant and the native variants where it was really rough. So the thing is they might see positive trends, but the fact is placebo might just be, might not be so bad. That's the problem at this point, is that hopefully thankfully COVID is, now that it's gone into Omicron version, whatever it is now, it's learning to live in the human body and live in the human population. Remember, viruses don't really want to kill you. They want to use your body to spread. Over periods of time, it tends to, water itself down to allow you to stay mobile to spread more. A virus does not want to kill you. It does not want you to be bedridden. It doesn't want you to be in a hospital. A virus really, really likes when you can get infected, stay healthy, so the cells are still being able to be used as bioreactors to create more virus, and it also wants you to stay mobile long enough, if not longer, as long as possible, to spread to as many people as possible. So it's essentially just stays, it survives. So that's the way this thing, most viruses like to work. Keep in mind that H1N1 and all these, our worst flus that people get are descendants of Spanish flus and swine flus. Those are still their offspring essentially are our worst flus, right? So those are the ones that all these vaccine companies are trying to chase every year, figuring out which one, those lines, what are they doing this year. So anyway, that's what we're looking for here, is that hopefully TEMPOL is so good that there's just a strong difference between COVID-19, the people who got TEMPOL versus placebo. But we have to accept it as a fact that, or the likelihood that the COVID-19 now is not showing strong enough symptoms to discern. But we'll see. I don't know. Nobody knows at this point. Hopefully, I mean, I guess that is a risk, and the other risk is that comes from that is that if they do have to expand, we might be in trouble, because not only can they not afford it, but they need to get this, like, if they want EUA in time for COVID to spike again in this winter, like, if they want this to work, they want to get the money, start a market like this. I'm not saying like clinical. This is strict money talking. Like, if they want to get, I mean, they want to get it like out there, which I'm sure, like I said, it's a pretty simple drug. They could, but they're gonna need the FDA to make a quick decision on this. I'm sure they're aware of it. The NIH is aware of it. They have been talking. Hopefully, this is a quick submission and maybe get a quick EUA. If it is that good. Again, we're going into this quote-unquote COVID season. I'm sure everybody wants this thing to go away. And if we can get this thing to go away the moment, like, hey, like, no more deaths, let's get this over and done with, and you can tell me we can do this without hundreds of dollars, for each prescription, and this can be cost us very little. I think we'd be 21 day dose. That's nothing. 21 days, make sure these people don't get COVID-19 or develop severe symptoms. It's got an antiviral effect. It's got an anti-inflammatory effect. I know they're going to probably, I mean, there's going to be something in there. I just wish it's all statistically significant. And then there's the question, which is, what happens if it is that good? Where does ADMP go? Where, this is what we really care about, right? I shouldn't say that. I mean, as a person who's been watching Adamis and been invested in Adamis and watched them completely fumble, like every major, I shouldn't say every, all their products are centered around and have been, I guess, launched or been around major public health issues where the opportunity and the demand for these things have been through the roof. Like, I remember they had a shot to get this Synjepi approved, and they fumbled that one 2 or 3 times for CRLs. But I remember when they had that, and it was like EpiPen was on a shortage, and they also they had a bunch of cartridges misfire, didn't work. I mean, there was just there was manufacturing issues with the auto injector. Oh man, it was just every terrible and the Congress was looking into the pricing, and they're we need an alternative, and here comes Synjepi, and it was no, we can't prove. I remember one of them was like they couldn't prove if if it was it. Yeah, they couldn't. Yeah, they needed a way to determine if the whole dosage was ejected or something like that. And it was just like, how do you not figure that out in the first place? It's just like some of these things. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, and then Zimhai was, what was that? Oh yeah, they had the battle with the. Oh, who was the other guys? With the patents and high dose, using it for the Orange Book. I forget already. I should know, but that was being set back. Like I said, the Novartis, like Sandoz, should have gotten deals done. They didn't get deals done. They sucked. Now they got U.S. World Meds. That sounds like one of those that honestly sounds like some sort of like health scam from third world country. I mean, I shouldn't. When I heard about that, I was like, my head might just palm the face. And then I looked into it. I'm like, yeah, these guys should be able to do it. But I remember someone sending me pictures. It was they are supposed to have a booth. U.S. World Meds was supposed to have a booth at or they had a booth. They signed up for it, and then I think like there's pictures of like day 2, and no one had shown up at the allergist. Like it was the largest allergist convention, and nobody was there. It was just like, like you're in a convention center and it's got the tables with the black cloths, tablecloths over it, and it's just like the piece of paper on the desk that says like this is where you're supposed to set up, and there's like two companies, I forget what they were, on either side, and there's people standing around them, they're talking and everything, and there's just a blank open booth with U.S. World Meds. Just nobody there. Now, I don't know at what point that was taken. That might have been like taken before the whole thing was open, but maybe not. I mean, other people were there and they weren't. Just doesn't. I remember, someone sending that. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a disaster. So, hopefully, the data is so good from TEMPOL that it's impossible for Adamis to screw it up, because someone's going to be like, we're not allowing you to do it. We're not allowing you to have. Oh, look at that. It's probably more like this, though. Yeah, there's the breakdown. 1, 2, 3, breakdown. Retests, solid rejection. Even with these small little microcap names, it's amazing how a computer still runs it, right? So here's the bottom. Comes down, retests it. You get a third one here. Comes up, and then we break down through it. Hits the bottom of the Keltner channel right there. The next day comes up, tests it, gets a strong rejection for the next few days. Right, you can see the line coming down. See how that hits that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hits it that day. When's the anchor from that? That's months before, right? Yeah, that was back. That's October, July. October, we're mid-October, beginning of July. Came back, so that's back in play. Is this one? Is that one? You can see, comes up, 1, 2, 3, 4, breaks up, goes against, are finally popping up and through here. In terms of RSI, do we have a trend going here? Did we test lower? We did. On this day, too. We were there. 30 was the low. 31. So yeah, this is a perfect day. Look at that. So we have a bullish divergence. So there's that. Makes sense. So we're above the buy threshold right now. Maybe we'll get a pullback tomorrow to get a shot at it. This is the anchored VWAP from this high right here. That's our first major obstacle, and then obviously there's some prior resistance here. 200-day EMA is not too far away. So really, once we get above like 50, 60 cents, a lot of volume here. So maybe, in reality, it's probably way up here. So if we get a spike, good data, we can probably get a spike near sell target 1, which seems crazy, but if there's evidence that it's going to be a marketable drug, even in the long term, right? Maybe they don't even get an EUA, but let's keep in mind, COVID-19 is going to be endemic at this point. I mean, I can't say that for sure, but, you know, it's an RNA virus. So essentially it's constantly changing. Ultimately it's like telephone, like each time it goes to somebody, there's always something changing. And finally when it comes all the way back around, it's not the original, and then it'll change again. Just keeps going around. This thing will survive. So we're going to need something that will work on your body and it'll help. It's independent of what the virus is doing, which this has the potential, right? Next time the virus comes through, doesn't matter. Still works. Doesn't matter if it's a COVID Omicron variant or some other subset mutation. As long as it's still in the same category as a COVID-19 coronavirus, it should work. Which is huge. And if it's cheap, even better. Now, if that's true, even if they don't get an EUA or they have to do a longer trial to prove that it really does work, I mean, this should spike if there's even that possibility. Anyway, actually, you know what? There's other data. We got no. I believe. I believe. Oh yeah, we have. Didn't they get the? Let's actually go back. Yeah. I believe we don't have an RS. Maybe that's not here. Let's go to, there we go. And read this one. Offerings, nothing. Come on. CS3, that's always great. These guys need lots of money, and they need the RS to really pull it off. Ay, ay, ay. So no RS at the moment, but they want to sell They want to sell lots and lots of shares. And if it's RS, there would be less shares. Still, they need to make... Oh, that's a lot of dough. They literally have a drug that has the potential to work. So you are sick with a virus, and it is not good. It's a viral infection. They test you. It's not a bacterial infection. But you are pushing off something viral, and they can give you that. I mean, imagine if it works on GI. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine if this thing works on GI. This thing works on like GI viruses. I mean, I don't know if it would stop a GI infection, but you never know. Who knows? It's just, but all the respiratory viruses, influenza, RSV, pneumonias, basically anything that's gonna give you ARDS. Figure out a way to make it. Well, it's a pill form now. I wonder if they can make it into a injectable. Something you give yeah. If it works with RSV, you can save a lot of people, a lot of lives. Kids, babies. All for a pretty cheap price too. I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna stop the rant here. I'm sorry for the long rant, but if I had to sum it up, I'd say it's a bullish event. It's a big update. You know, we're moving forward. Data's coming. And then if they, I guess the big thing about this is that even if they do need more data, the power to study to get statistical significance, it seems like, you know, they're at 190 and they get another roughly, you know, what would that be, 50 something? Was it 58? 240? I forget where it is already. You know, 50, 60 people. Maybe that's enough. Who knows? Maybe it's, you know, they need to get an extra 100 people on top of that. We are getting close to the end of the year. People are going to be going inside, so the spread's going to be probably a little bit higher. If that has to happen, they're going to probably they're going to need a lot of money to do it. Not because the study should be very expensive, but just, you know, that's another quarter or two of not having, you know, TEMPOL money being pushed back. Every time I feel like these guys finally have something, then I have this moment where I'm like, well, that something like that could go wrong, and I'm like, unlikely. And I've been wrong every single time. Maybe not for the specific reason that I thought about, but it's like, you know, how can these guys get this wrong? And they do. They always do. I mean, like, I want to let's, while we're here, Not even there anymore. Like, these guys had 2 other inhalers. They just stopped doing it. They're just gone. Dry powder inhaler, I think one of them was. Just gone. I think they paid a pretty penny to 3M for the one of the inhalers. Just what a joke. I don't even think they're doing this one. Right? I mean, they probably should need to stick with the oral, push that as hard as they can. Once they get some cash, I mean, they should probably go to injectable and a topical version. I'm not sure if it's even, capable of being injectable right now, but topical anti-inflammatory for the skin. That's an issue. This is an issue. If they could reduce oxidative stress, I mean, even when people are just like marginally, just a little bit sick, like secondary infections can be terrible. So if anybody with a viral infection, I mean, I hate to say just throw TEMPOL at it, but like anybody with a serious viral infection or has an ongoing or has a history of getting viral infections, I mean, could be a candidate for this, because the amount of secondary infections that come along with it that can plague somebody for long. Like, you ever see somebody who has like, they get sick with like a cold and they're coughing for like months after, and it's like, I still have a cold. It's like, I don't think you still have a cold anymore. It's just like bodies just can't kick it. That's just the way they are. It's just the way they're constructed. They're bad luck, or terrible immune system, or unhealthy people. They should be taking TEMPOL. Get that done and over with. Make sure it's not anything serious. Alright, I'll end it here. I'm sorry for the long rant. But for us, definitely unwatched for the rest of the month. And this little spike for us, still purple, so we're waiting on it. I think we gotta wait until we probably have to break above this downtrend array, which would be above this anchored VWAP. For it to be seem bullish, but however, in terms of valuation, we're probably down. If we can get below 34, and even better if we can get it down, say, 32. Bomb the channels in the 20s, which probably could be good too. But let's see, that would be coming back. Yeah, I think we could. I would say probably like under the threshold, the buy threshold would probably be my first shot. I'd be willing to get some, or not my first shot, but the first place I'd look. I wouldn't wait. Not because I don't think it can get that high, but that, like, I mean, we're down at the point where you can, 30. We're gonna look. Would that be like a 50% move? So at this point, it's either you're gonna believe this company can do it or they can't. And if you do believe in it, you're gonna want to get it when it's selling off, and not trade this on technicals. I don't think it's gonna sustain any momentum. I think that at this point, it's probably just buy on the dips and deep red days. You're scaling in as everybody else is freaking out. You're slowly buying and accumulating on the worst days in anticipation this thing spikes at some point on positive news or some short. I mean, today would have been a good day if you bought, like, probably just today. That would be it. If you decided to buy this morning, you could have sold this afternoon for a decent profit, but the big money's hopefully coming down the road. So we're going to be patient. All right. Still speculative. Ultra speculative. Company has a terrible track record. However, this ticker is a great trading vehicle. This is a retail ticker, so it gets traded a lot. So the opportunity is there to book some cash or book some profit, get some cash. You do it. I still have the sell target, up here. Admittedly, if this thing does spike, up to 50, 60 cents and I'm up, 100%, I'm definitely booking some profits and going house money as quickly as possible. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. Have a good night. Probably have a couple more videos to do later on tomorrow after market close. Alright, hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Sorry for the long